So, what is going on? It's your boy Sam from TeamSamuraiX1 here, and today, guys, I'm with Jesse Kotton. Jesse, bro, we're in Japan right now, and you're probably gonna be the first world deck profile on the internet, this weekend. And what did you do, man, this week?
I got top 8. I'm a little disappointed.
Top 8, bro. Come on, that's good, man. Listen, Canada's proud of you, bro.
Yeah, I went undefeated in Swiss, and then I played somebody who I just beat in top 8, and I just break super hard game 2 and 3. I won game 1. He opened up game 1 with Candina Goes, and I grinded through it because I played Mrs. Radiant in the side deck, extra deck, so I was able to play through it. It's just so bad, and what can I do?
Yo, bro, listen, you know what? It's okay, bro. Canada is proud of you, Jesse. It's okay. You know what? You did well. You came first place in North America, right? For World's Points, so congratulations on that, bro. I know you're kind of down right now, but it's okay, man. Yo, you accomplished so many things this year, and yeah, man, like, Canada is proud of you, bro. You're telling me how you came first place after Swiss?
Yeah.
So, you were undefeated.
Yeah, I drew with Boden.
Okay,
we were
so
both XL1.
So XO1, wow.
Yeah.
First place undefeated. And you also said that you felt like you had the best deck in the room?
I feel like my deck was really good. I spent a lot of time planning it out, theorying it, testing it, and talking to some of the good players that I test with.
Okay, before we get started with the video, I just want to ask your opinions and thoughts on the World's ban list. Like, what did you think about it?
The World's ban list is fine. I think the format in general, like in TCG, isn't the best, and that translates to Worlds. The World's ban list is very similar to TCG with a few minor exceptions, so it definitely sucked a little bit. It is nice that Summon Sources wasn't legal, because that would have been even more unfair, but I still think even without Summon Sources, we were basically playing a Nats format, and Goki were just not a fun deck to play against. Like, if you don't have a hand trap, you just lose. I don't know, luckily, I just didn't play too many Goki mirror matches, and the ones I did, I prepared for, so I wasn't just getting destroyed. Like, I played 11 of the hand traps in the main, and sided 4 more. I only played 1 Goki, and then everyone played decks to counter Goki, but Goki's so strong in my opinion that I just don't beat them, even if they builds to beat me.
Alright, awesome, Jesse. Without further ado, let's start with the deck profile.
I actually first want to give shout outs to my team, Tiny Sports and MetaMats. You're looking at my Dante holding a potato mat that Swansea gave me. See here, MetaMats. Yeah. Check those guys out. Huge shout out to them. And then we get into the deck.
Alright, let's get started, man. You're teched out Goki, right?
Sure, yeah. So 2 Octo, 1 Headbat. I'm gonna preach forever. This is correct. I just don't know why. It's the worst Goki to draw for combos. You don't have the full combo if that's the one you draw. So why would I ever want to draw it? 3 Twist Cobra. This is a little different. People generally play 2 of this card, but I just felt like I needed more normal summons, and I didn't like Bear Hug. I'm playing a level 3 build because Hornetron's at 1 for this list, and without this Clash Record cards, Bear Hug's just very bricky, and then I needed a 10th Goki, and I'm not playing with Scorpio for the same... I am playing with Scorpio, but I didn't want to play more with Scorpios for the same reason that Bear Hug's not good. And Twist was the next best one. It also has synergy with the level 3s, because if I have Emergency Teleport and Twist Cobra, I can make Invoker. It's obviously not as ideal straight into a Zolde, but sometimes it's just enough.
And question, so I see that you have English cards and also Japanese cards. Are you allowed to use any type of language in this tournament?
Yeah, for Worlds, you're allowed to use any language, as long as they're just not marked. Yeah, I came to Japan a couple days early to hang out with people, and got some Japanese cards, so you see some nice blinged out
Nice,
cards.
look at that. Beautiful, super rare...
the Ultras, yeah.
Oh, sorry. Ultra rare Twist Cobra. Alright.
Yeah, the one that looks really nice is the Super X. They look really good.
Beautiful.
I love the Ultra Super X. So yeah, and then with Scorpio. So I didn't play Bear Hug because realistically you don't need it for any of the combos. A lot of the time, if you do need it for the combos, you can just replace it with any other monster in your hand. And the deck has so many monsters that it's impossible that your other 3 cards in hand and any of the cards you drew off the Nightmare just aren't monsters. And if it is, you have 3 Call by the Graves, and it's just also traps. Or you have 3 impermanences, so who cares? So you just don't need Bear Hug, and it was just breaking. If you draw Marauding Captain and Bear Hug, nothing. Junk Forward, Bear Hug does nothing. It was only good with Super X, and I felt like if I had Super X, you were already just pretty far ahead, because that card is incredible. Also, going back to the Twist Cobra, I played a lot of ways to summon Invoker before normal summoning, so it was very important to have a Super X or a Twist Cobra to follow up, because that just meant I could play through Ash, Valor, and Permanence a lot of the time, and those are 2 of those 3 are very popular hand traps everywhere. So this deck just had a really easy time playing through those type of hand traps. It still it couldn't deal with Gamma very well, but this deck, Goki in general, just can't really deal with it. There's no way around that. then for the level 3 extenders, Team Rodney Captains. I didn't play 3 because I never want to really see 2 of it. It's a normal summon, so it does conflict with Super X as well. It's just one of the worst ones. But it was still good because you opened up like Junk 4 to Goki plus this, and still let you play through Impermanence, which is good.
Nice.
3 Junk 4s is definitely the best one, just because level 3 Ward just summons itself in the hand without using a normal summon. Sorry, Instant Fusion is the best one, but the best like actual monster is this one.
Triple Junk.
And then I guess the spicier card, I got this idea from Tom Payne's deck list, is the Gillosaurus.
What is this, bro?
A nice mosaic rare Gillosauruses.
Beautiful. So, what does this card do?
So you can special summon it from your hand, and if you do, your opponent can special summon any monster from the graveyard. Basically, it's just a free level 3 to make Invoker with, and if you play enough of them, it doesn't even matter if they're not warriors, they're still just making Invoker like often before your normal summon. Also, with Altergeist, they often put like a Liquidus on the field or just a bunch of Altergeists. It's really useful to just summon these and just push out their monsters, and using your battle phase, and like if they bounce it, you just summon it again, so who cares? They're really good because unlike Junk 4, it's not a restriction to like you only use 1. If you have 2, just summon 2, and it's really good. It was really good for me all tournament. I used it to like OTK people a lot, like in just weird grind games. I'd be able to special from hand and just swing. Like I got Goes in match, and I just made Mrs. Radiant and summoned like 2 of these and just swung for game. And he couldn't bring back anything because it goes in match.
I have a question. So, this card is also really good going first, right? Because your opponent doesn't have to special a monster.
No, yeah, your opponent doesn't have to special, so they don't have a monster. Nothing comes back. It is primarily for going first, and I do set out like the extra copy sometimes going second. But it was there as an extender. It lets me make like the Nightmare Link monsters to crack boards. It lets me make Invoker. It serves a lot of different purposes in the deck, and it's nice. I just really felt like going into the event, I didn't want to lose to one hand trap. And although sometimes you'll still lose to stuff like Cherries or Gamma, Cherries is actually just like you can still play through like a decent amount of the time if you play extenders like Gillosaurus. And Impermanence, Ash, and Veil, as I said, were very popular, and this helps a lot to play through it.
Nice. Triple Gillosaurus. The spice.
Yeah. And then Ibly is just standard. And then the hand traps, I played 11. 3 Gamma and Driver. I felt like this should be in like pretty much everyone's deck this tournament.
How come?
It just was the best hand trap. Gamma just ends the Goki's turn in almost every scenario that's not Soul Charge. It's just incredibly powerful. And then even Dex is not good against like Ultrageist and Trickstar. It still just does something. It's still like an Impermanence or it does some other stuff. It was a little shitty going first, and in some cases just a dead card if you're comboing off. But it's so powerful it is worth the payout. I do this a couple times, but it just doesn't matter. The fact that like one of the things I was considering was I trying the math and seeing how often I could draw 2 hand traps, because 2 hand traps was usually enough to be fine in the mirror match. But why play to draw 2 hand traps when this one, if you draw just this, is just probably enough. So I decided to accept that sometimes going first I'd be a little worse off to main deck this. I only like resolved it twice and it was never in the mirror match, but it's whatever. It did come out a lot, but I still think I would not regret playing that. Like when I drew it, it wasn't bad. 3 Cherries, another card I think was in everyone's main deck. It's just
how good is this?
It's pretty good. To be honest, I think it actually is overrated. I can play through it pretty easily. I've never really had too many issues playing through it. And it's just even if you Cherries them, they can just still do some stuff. It's not that good. But Cherries,
Sorry. Continue.
Cherries was nice because it does slow them down more than like Asher Veiler. Like Asher Veiler or Impermanence sometimes get the job done. Sometimes they're just like you're praying they don't have an extender. Where this, like, they need to have the extra deck tools to deal with it, and then it's way more aligned to them having a good hand.
Okay, facing against the Goki mirror match, what do you Ghost Reaper? Because
it's all day. It's not even close.
It's all day.
It cuts them off getting advantage, and it stops a lot of their combos. If their hand is that good to like push through getting Cheerios on his all day, like no matter what, they were ending with like Trigate, Goblin, Phoenix, or whatever. Like you still weren't winning.
How about Firewall? No.
No, that's what I'm saying. If you Cherries Firewall and they have them in extenders, in which case they would have done the normal combo without his all day, they were still just dropping a huge board against you. You weren't breaking, like, because for them to drop like the full board without his all day, they need to have a really good hand. Or yeah, I don't know. I am like not convinced this card is amazing, just because I have played through it enough times myself to just see it's like not broken. But I do think there are a lot of like times where other hand traps just aren't that good. Also, you can link Fable vs Ultrageist, which comes up if they go Melseek. What happened a lot was I just kept drawing this against decks that weren't Goki, and I hit Exodia, and they just had cherries most of the time, so they had to hit random stuff. That came up a couple times, and it was cool, but yeah.
Cool, so triple cherries.
And then the last 2 hand traps, 2 ogres. I didn't play 3 because it had diminishing value in multiples, and I felt like it was less impact than cherries. It was better versus everything, but there were just times where I felt like you can play around it and it wasn't amazing. And also, yeah, there was a lot of times where it just didn't feel amazing, where they weren't doing their standard combo and both players were just freestyling in a grind game. It wasn't amazing, you just had to use it on random stuff. It came MVP a couple times in where I had to ogre Ningirsu's draw effect because it was mandatory. That came up. And then hitting spoofing is really good, or protocol, and multi-faker if they have other Old Skies cards. So it's good. I would not regret that, playing the 2. I was fine with it.
How come no Ash Blossom or no Drolls, man?
Yes, so Droll's not the best, because like they can just have Dolphin, although I don't think it was very popular at this event. There's also just, if they don't have like Rhoda or any other like search cards that go straight away, even if you draw them, sometimes they can just land on Firewall, and if you're drawing them and you're playing 11 hand traps, you're playing with 4 cards to a Firewall sometimes without the Sky Strikers. It can be pretty hard. So just didn't want to have to deal with that, and the draw also just got diminishing value with other hand traps, and just going second, it wasn't as good. So yeah, and then I wanted to play a lot of level 3 hand traps to make so that if I bricked, I could make Invoker with it, and I felt like these were definitely just the best ones. And Gamma was too powerful not to play. Like, I had Ashes in the main deck and the 3rd Ogre over the Gammas and Driver, but it just made more sense to have the Gammas in there. And then for the Ashes was just not super impactful. In the mirror match, if you Ash the Isola or the Invoker, if they just have a decent enough hand, it's not hard to push through it. So I just didn't want to rely on that card because it is more mediocre. It is better versus other stuff, and it is in my side deck 100% because I want as many hand traps as I can going second in the mirror match, and also just versus rogue decks or non-Goki decks. But I don't regret not playing it for the main deck.
And obviously, Droll is like an auto lose against Ultra guys. It's like a dead card.
Yeah, right? And even Sky Striker, it's like mediocre because you don't want to draw them turn 1, you want to draw them turn 2.
Okay.
And in this deck, like against Sky Striker, your momentum comes on turn 1, and you don't want to be waiting for turn 2.
All right, let's go to our spells.
So Rhoda's pretty standard. This is a little weird. I played Emergency Teleport, so I'm fitting along with the theme of just summoning level 3s from my deck before normal summoning and Invoker. E-Telly is amazing at that. I won a lot of games because of E-Telly, because it's like Gillosaurus, but way better because it gets Ogre. There were a couple times where like my opponent just fakered, and you, like in Permanence Faker, you just chain E-Telly, get out Ogre, you can Ogre the Faker, and then it doesn't matter. It's like just playing 3 Impermanence normally, which isn't that hard. I got ordered on Instant Fusion. I was able to chain this, and I was able to full combo afterwards. That was good. What else did I use this for? Oh, and in testing, someone would make Bomber Dragon. I can Ogre this into the Bomber Zone, and then Ogre the Bomber, and that was like really good.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Yeah, this card.
Nasty.
Yeah, this card was really good. I liked that a lot. Yeah. And then the quick spells. No Arms and Living Fossil. Divine Sword and Living Fossil. No Noble Arms. If you've heard me speak about this deck, you hear me say how much I like that card. I think Noble Arms is really good. It's just, without Sky Striker and Trickstar being super popular for this format, or it's not as good, it's just not as effective, and especially in most of the mirror matches, you want to play Living Fossil because it's live, where if you do have to draw on a quick spell, you want it to be always live. And people are going to say, well, Ultra Geist is a trap deck and it was popular. It's continuous trap cards, so the Noble Arms just isn't as good, because the Noble Arms says that if the set card it targets is chained, it doesn't get destroyed. So if they just go chain spoofing, rivalry, or protocol, don't even use the effect on them, it just does nothing. So nice. it wasn't as good as Living Fossil. And then Soul Charge is obvious. I don't know why people don't play this card.
Broken.
One Goki rematch. I think 1 is correct for we were expecting mostly mirror matches.
Did you get Bell at all?
Yeah. It's fine. I sided the second for control matchups, or when I was going first, and I expected to get hand trapped a bunch. But like I built this deck back in Pendulum format, like in Memphis, because I just had a feeling that I was testing this deck, and the feeling was going to be crazy before anybody else was. And I only had 1 rematch then, because the logic was against Pendulum you didn't have as many live cards as possible. You need to have hand traps to stop the FTK, and then you want to have your combo. I kind of figured the rematch is the same thing. You want as many hand traps and you want as many ways to get your combo. And rematch doesn't contribute to either. It only really helps in the grind game, so I kind of stuck with one. And I think that was fine. I don't have regrets about this either. A couple times it came up, like it didn't actually cost me a game, which is like would have made it easier. 2 fossil digs, so it just kind of sticking the theme with Gillosaurus. I just really thought the extend was really good. And Droll wasn't a very popular card for this event, so it made this card more appealing. I got Drolled once, and it was by Trickstar, and that makes sense. Trickstar should play Droll, but all the other decks, like Ultigeist should not play Droll. The deck is too slow to play Droll. Sky Striker should not play Droll. Goki can play Droll, but I think they were just better hand traps to play in the Goki deck. So yeah, my level 3 extenders to make Invoker before normal summoning was...
So 5.
Well, it was this, and then there were these, and I count these 2, and then your next ones are obviously 3 instant fusion. That's just standard at this point. So you have a lot of ways to just get to your Invoker before normal summoning, which is insane. Or this is a normal summon, but especially when you go keep from the hand is kind of a similar thing. And it's just really good at playing through Impermanence Ash Veiler. Almost always you get full combo. This is anything, obviously, but there's so many just combo pieces.
Nice.
So yeah, and then last 2 spells, Call by the Grave. I think this card's incredible.
That's
It's good in the grind game versus Ultigeist and Trickstar because it's just also a breakthrough skill. Hits hand traps, super important. Cherries is big one to hit. And then, even though Ash you can play through often, sometimes it's good to hit the Ash. Hits Bell, Ogre. It's a good card. Yeah, that's another reason why Ogre wasn't as good as well, where Impermanence and Gamma couldn't be called. This card, Ogre could. But yeah, so this is standard. Some people will argue that it's bad going second, even in the mirror match, where you want cards that are hand traps or combo cards. If you're playing the mirror match, you're never siding out all 11 hand traps, in my opinion. So I just want to have this to stop their hand traps. Like when I go first in the mirror match, I'm still keeping in Ashes and some other hand traps like Impermanences. I guess Impermanence doesn't really matter with this, but still any just average neutral hand traps. You can play going first in the mirror, so this is important.
Call by the Grave. Nice.
Yeah.
And then, last but not least, what do you...
It's just Impermanences.
Triple.
Yeah. Really good hand trap because they can't call it. It hits a lot of stuff. It's effect Veiler that can't be called, and that's really important because Veiler's pretty good.
Nice. Alright, so that's pretty much it for your main deck.
Note that I played 45 cards.
45?
Yeah, so the reason behind that was, I think... all these numbers we use are arbitrary numbers. They're just random. When you think about it, 40 is just a random number. It doesn't mean anything. Yes, it's the smallest amount, so it should be the most consistent. But if you're just checking mathematically, with this, it's fine to play 45 because the deck is still incredibly consistent. Every single card in the deck is a toolbox. And I just wanted to minimize the chances of drawing the bricks like Ibly and Divine Sword or the one rematch, and then maximize the chance of just drawing combo pieces. And then you just play more copies of combo pieces and more copies of hand traps. It didn't matter. And I really wanted to play 3 copies of Impermanence, Cherries, Gammas. I had to play those. And then if I was playing Italy, I had to play Ogres. So it just made the most sense to play it the way I did. And I think 45 was fine. The times I bricked was when I drew 2 Octo Divine Sword Ibly. And that is what 45 is supposed to minimize. It's supposed to stop that from happening. So I don't think 45 ever contributed to me bricking.
Alright, awesome.
Yeah, the only thing that is worse about 45 is the power cards are less likely and the side deck cards are less likely to see. But your main consistency, seeing hand traps or seeing engine cards, is more consistent. And seeing brick cards is less consistent.
Nice.
But yeah, I feel if you just build your deck, you just don't need to see Soul Charge. I also just didn't see side deck cards the entire tournament.
Really?
And just the main engine of the deck just stole one. So that was okay. I don't think it was a big deal. I drew Scythe, not Sanctum, I drew Scythe.
So
this is my side deck now. I played these. So a lot of the things we were doing for nationals and a lot of the players were doing was playing Dolphin, Exchange, Drag Down, and make an Ego Booster to beat hand traps. So your deck just went off. But if you're playing so many hand traps yourself, you can't reasonably side in that many cards. It's just not worth all the side deck space. And you got to think, what's the next best thing? If I can't guarantee combo them turn 1 out, I want to have trap cards to back myself up. And Sanctum, I think, is just the best one. Even though it's weak to Ash. Ash is at 2 this format, and also this, you can always bait out the Ash. Hitting Sanctum for Scythe usually just ends their turn, and it's also just a monster. It also deals with Inspect Border and Thunder King, which some decks play, so I did side it in against the Trickster deck to beat those cards. And I was very happy with it. I never actually got to use it in the mirror match, but I did tribute summon for this to beat an Inspect Border. I went special Gillosaurus tribute and swung over it.
Nice.
And that was cool, but I have no regrets about this either. In testing, it was like insane. I was just testing every time I drew that card, I was winning the game, like unless they had their hand was just nuts. So yeah. And then I played 3 twins for just trap decks, Geist, Sky Striker. Rematch for if I went first and I wanted to grind, if I just felt like they were playing a lot of hand traps. Yeah, Bell too, but it's more just they had a lot of hand traps. I felt like my turn was ending without a complete board. I was okay grinding with my own hand traps, but like sometimes you just want to rematch, leave 2 floaters on field, the next turn rematch to kill them. So that's just the reason for that. But yeah, I mean, mostly for just control decks. 3 reboots because we saw a lot of Ultra Guys here, and this card is just nuts. This is like a big reason why I just couldn't play Ultra Guys. These cards are just so blowouts.
Yeah.
And besides that, going second is also just incredibly hard. I mean, these cards are still as good going first. It's like, I know you just can't use them turn 1, but who cares? Like, even if you make a mini board of just like a couple searches, a Firewall, and some Gokis, with this they just still lose because they go set traps, you end phase twin, or you just go reboot them again on their turn and they still lose.
Correct.
It's just too good. And then the last 4 cards were hand traps. It's 2 Veilers and 2 Ashes. Nice ulties.
Beautiful ulties, man.
Yeah, this looks so nice. I felt like Veiler was good just because if you're drawing 2 hand traps, a lot of them just have diminishing value with each other. They don't like synergize well, but stuff like Veiler, Ash, and Permanent Gamma work better together because the effect negation was something you can never really have too much of. So I felt like this is the best one to play multiples of and just keep adding up on. I didn't think Draw was very good because when you had like Draw Ash, it conflicted. It just felt like we weren't getting any value.
Nice.
And then sometimes Veiler was enough to break them if they won like Super X, Super Veiler them. So because they weren't playing builds like this, they couldn't play through it.
Awesome. All right, let's go off into your
Extra deck. Yeah. So I got my Dragoness the Wicked Knight. It's a nice common one. Thanks, shout out to Luke Parks for that. Invoker. Basically, the way this deck runs is a Turbo's Invoker. And then Link ones are Link Quebo and Mermaid standard. 2 Goblin. I'll say this again. I say it every time I do a deck profile with Nightmares with Gokis. Why are people playing 2 Phoenix and 1 Goblin? Goblin is just way better. Like it's so needed. I use 2 so often. The 1 Phoenix, 1 Cerberus. I just don't ever think I need more than those. And I was okay with that. Actually, in my future match, I had to firewall back the Cerberus to make my board because I don't play Underclock. When I draw Ibly and I don't draw enough monsters to like special off Firewall, it does get kind of awkward for me, and I have to like do some weird stuff with Firewall, but it still gets there. 2 Isolde standard. I could never cut this card. It just comes up too often. You need a second one. And then the Link 3s is standard. Unicorn Trigate, Firewall, and then the last card was... I'm actually missing a card, sorry. I borrowed a card and I gave it back. Another Link 2 I played is Mrs. Radiant. That's what I cut Underclock for. Mrs. Radiant was good because it lets you play through cherries better.
Yeah,
if you could just like invoke without normal summoning and then they cherries your Isolde, you can like Mrs. Radiant, get searches, summon an extender, summon again, summon a Goki. So search a Goki, summon like Gillosaurus, make Goblin. You don't even have to use the effect. Add rematch, and then you get Firewall field, and you basically just have the normal Goki
same combo. Yeah.
So it's actually just not hard to play through cherries if you play Mrs. Radiant. Also helps versus Goes and match, and even versus grind decks. It's just a floater with 1900 attack, so it just was better than Underclock in a lot of scenarios. Underclock was a little better sometimes for the arrows. Mrs. Radiant's arrows also are good if you get so. I'm not going to say it was definitively better than Underclock, but it was good, especially this tournament because every single person is main decking cherries.
Correct.
I think in a tournament where that's not happening, I'd probably just go back to Underclock, but in this case, no regrets. Last card that you have is Gumbler. I actually don't like this card. I don't think it's that good.
Why?
But I think that extra length is better. But there were so many Ultra Guys to the tournament, I had to last minute throw in, and I didn't even know the combos. I had to learn them the night before. Versus Ultra Guys, I will admit, Gumbler is better versus trap decks. You definitely just want to Gumbler them because if they have double rivalry, you don't lose. But if then the other cards are good, then you lose. With Gumbler, they can keep the double rivalry, but you still have a somewhat of a board, and they're just top decking, and you can just often just kill them. Gumbler twice. It was good both times. So I mean, I even wanted to play Ningirsu and Underclock, but I just felt like because there was so much Ultra Guys this tournament, I had to play it. So yeah, that's my deck.
All right, Jesse, thank you so much for this amazing top 8 competitive first place undefeated after Swiss Goki deck profile, bro. Congratulations on coming top 8, bro. Next year you're probably gonna win next year if you compete again for the world's points. But anyways, any last words before we sign off?
Yeah, shout outs to my testing partners as well. Last couple months I've been testing with Marcus Carice, Isala Wafi-Thontrigay, and Aaron Furman. They've been my primary testing partners for Nats, and basically the Nats ideas, the Nats deck we use is what I translated into my Worlds deck. So shout outs to them.
All right, okay, Jesse, thank you so much for this deck profile. This is Sam from TeamSamuraiX1 signing out. All right, guys, peace.
I feel like Usain in the cheetah print. Talk fresh game, I don't need a minute. R.I.P. the game, I need a minute. Okay, let's proceed with it. I'm in the house, got the deed with it. These bozos always sneak this and they taking shots. I'ma keep with it like no, this league business.